Hello and welcome to Cracking the Rich Code, the podcast. I'm your host, John Verico, and I just love doing this show. I get to meet people from all around the world, from all walks of life, and they are just truly fascinating. So, our guest today from Alberta, and you can see I'm a professional speaker. Our guest today from Alberta, Canada is Robert Ndoping. And Robert is a certified business coach, a leadership strategist, an equity advocate, and a performance consultant. And he wrote about resilience in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 17. And we're going to get into that. Thanks, everyone. And welcome, Robert, to the show. Robert, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, John. I'm doing great, and thank you for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you, sir. I really was looking forward to talking with you ever since you first, we kind of first encountered each other during one of the masterminds, and then I said, this guy's got to get on the show, and I think we put out a reminder to get scheduled, and then you came on, and I saw your chapter on resilience in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 17. That's a topic very near and dear to my heart. And I said, I got to get to know this guy. So I couldn't wait for you to get on the show. And when we scheduled it, it was like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's so far out by the time we can get him on. And then all of a sudden it was here. So here we are. Good morning again. So glad to have you.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
So let me ask you a little bit about, before I even dive in, I just want to know, you chose to write about resilience and you call it a journey to finding purpose. And I'd like to know just a little bit about kind of how you came to that.
Yeah, John, and thank you so much for that question. It's a really big one to me, and I think there's one word you used there: purpose. I mean, you can talk about so many things, but the moment you add a purpose to something, it's a whole game changer. And for me, resilience has been a lived experience, and there's so many things that could affect us in life. But those things actually change us for good or for bad. And I think resilience is one of those things that if you let circumstances in life shape you, mold you, and guide you towards the right direction, in the end, you find a purpose. And that makes you stronger because you get an opportunity to
Yeah.
support other people, find their purpose and not just find their purpose, but actually grow into what they want to become. So for me, that was major in choosing that topic because it's almost like a foundation to so many other things that I do and that I write about.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about your life and how you came to this realization, because so many people, they'll go through different things in life and they'll let life happen to them, and they don't really truly understand resilience. But you sound like you're coming from the voice of experience here.
Yes, John. I mean, I've lived in different countries and continents, and I think that has also shaped and molded me. I was born in Cameroon, somewhere in Western Central Africa. I started my journey within the public service, and part of that was the goal to serve people. And I thought maybe I could change policies. I could be able to influence in different ways. But I realized my dream was bigger than just a country. And so I moved to Europe. I studied in different countries. I studied in Sweden, Denmark, UK. I've lived in France, Belgium, and all of that did not just, pass by because I picked up everything in every country I live, every culture I lived. And now I'm settled in Canada. I've also lived for a short while in the US. So I mean, it's been a journey, and that's why I title my chapter "A Journey to Finding Purpose." But in all of that, there was something that was very important, is that I kept asking myself a question. I mean, let's say at 80, when I look back at my life, what would I be proud of? And I think that's where I had to sit back and say, there's something I've always done that I never thought about. And that's I've been a mentor, I've been a coach, I've been a people builder. And that's why I call myself a capacity builder. And
I love it.
that to me has been a purpose. And what do I learn? I had to take all of this resilience to be able to turn things around and not just keep it to myself. be an inspiration, support other people, build them, hold hands, and maybe, make people also find their own purpose and scale and grow to what they want to be.
What a fascinating, like, I have to tell you, I was in the Navy and I traveled, quite a bit in the Navy, but I have not been to anywhere near as many places as you've lived. It's just a truly that's fascinating. And so I was going to ask where you were from when I first started talking to you, when you said you were from Alberta, Canada, and was like, wait a minute now, he does not sound like he's from Canada. So I knew you had a broader spectrum, but having so how many languages do you speak? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, so English, French, speak some amount of Swedish, some amount of Danish. So which really adds a little bit of flavor. Living in Canada, Canada has been home for many years now. I mean, it's just it's a bilingual country, and so it's really amazing to have French and English on my shoulders as well. So
I love it. I love it. So let me. You said you started. What kind of work did you do then? What were you doing?
yes, so I started off in public service, and back where I was born, there's a prestigious institution called, they call it a NAM in French, and it's like a school for public civil servants. So I had a bachelor's degree in political science and public administration, which was like a foundation for me to get into that International Public Institute. And so when I graduated from that, I was sent into the Ministry of Finance, which was really interesting. But I was in charge of administration and finance. So service of administration and finance. So that was where I was. And it was just part of the major government machinery because every other government body was linked to finance because of
Of
course you
course.
cannot do things without finance. So for me, it saw me at a place where I could be able to connect the dots and be able to see how a machinery, especially in a country based in Africa, works. And for me, that's also the beginning of my resilience. Is really understanding things, how things work in different economies, different countries, and really merge that together and see, what could be done better. So yes, I was in the Ministry of Finance for a couple of years before I traveled abroad for further studies.
When you first started to travel, it was for studying, or
Yes.
did you just like want to seek a new life, or is it a little of both?
Yeah, it was a little of both. I think number one is I think the key piece, which I also narrated in my chapter, was I mean, there was a need. And part of that need was I wanted to serve people. I saw that where I was like a box. I was put in a box, but there was a need that I felt I just really wanted to do more. And that's when I started looking, okay, what are some trainings? What are some programs? What are some, you know, degrees that I could take that could enable me take a step above where I was. And
Right.
that's why I moved from political science to international development. So I got admissions in a couple of universities, and then I decided to move to Sweden, Lund precisely, to study an international master's in development. And for me, that was really the foundation because when I thought if I could get this, then I could support because I'd seen a lot of things. I've seen people suffering, seen poverty, seen different things around me. I mean, I grew up
Right.
in a family of civil servants. Not that we were rich, but I mean, we were average. But all around me, I could see a lot of things. And I thought, maybe, just maybe, I could be able to be a part of the solution and not just sit and relax. And so that's what moved me from one step to the other. So I moved as a student to Sweden.
It's a wonderful feeling, isn't it, when you realize that you can make a difference,
Yeah.
and then finding that path to be able to do that. I think that most of us who wind up in the coaching realm are, really kind of have that in us, that desire to help others and to work with others, and to know that what we're doing is not in vain, and we can make a difference wherever we can. And so I'm really, I'm like I said, I'm truly fascinated with your story, and how you made these transitions. I also spent majority of my career in public service, so so I know exactly where you're coming from on this. Now, at some point, uh, you were approached, I guess, by Jim Britt or one of his colleagues, and said, "We want you to be part of this book series." And so, what were your initial thoughts, and why did you decide to go for it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been leadership strategist, performance consultant, business coach for a little while now. I mean, it's been an amazing journey for me, even within Canada. It's still a journey, still ongoing. I think Jim reached out to me on LinkedIn. I think Jim read through my profile. I think he had seen a couple of things, videos about me and my presentations online, and so he reached out to me on LinkedIn. And he just, first of all, he just wanted to have a one-on-one with me. He wanted to know more about me, about my story. And I think that day
Yes,
we had planned to meet for about an hour, but I think we spoke more than an hour. And I mean, Jim was fascinated. He just said, Robert, I really want you on my book. I mean, I just can't miss on this opportunity. I really wanted you on my book. And I mean, it was humbling because I mean, the work that Jim has done over the years and everything. I told him, yeah, I'm game. I'm good. I'm game. And that's how we started. And he said, yes, I want you to be able to craft as much as you can in, a few words in your story, and also just support people that are, really looking, because there
right.
may be people there that this could enable them reach out to you. So that's how this happened.
You know when Jim makes that call, and I know he reached out and he said, cracking the rich code, and I was like, oh, that's all for you, multi-millionaire
Yeah,
CEO types. I'm a public servant. I'm not in that same category. I'm not about building wealth. um, I'm about building, a rich life. And he goes, well, that's exactly what this is about. And that's, all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. Let's do this, and getting out there and making the difference. So for those of you who just are tuning in, go back and start from the beginning and listen to this whole show. We are having a fantastic conversation with Robert Dopping. Robert is a certified business coach, a leadership strategist. Um, Started out as a public servant in Cameroon, has lived practically everywhere around the world, now coming from Alberta, Canada, and wrote a fascinating chapter on resilience in Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 17. Robert, I want to kind of delve into that a little bit and talk a little bit about what you wrote about, and why you chose to focus on this for the readers of Cracking the Rich Code.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote about resilience, a journey to finding purpose. Like I said earlier, for me, it's like a foundation to so many things that I have been involved in. But I also wanted to write my life history in a very summarized version of it, and also make people know where I came from and where I am right now. I mean, it's easy to be able to see, oh, it's okay. He's based in, Alberta, Canada. He's a performance consultant, business strategist, and all of these things. And oh, it seems like everything had been just so good. But that is the journey to where I am. And I'm still
Yes.
climbing. It's not like I've arrived yet. I am climbing, and I'll keep climbing till till my dying day, because I just believe learning is a continuous experience. And I'll
Oh,
keep
absolutely. Absolutely. The day we stop learning is the day they put us in the ground.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. So that was a big piece of it. It's for me to be able to write a foundation for people to read about my story, my journey, and some of the things I faced and some of my experiences. I talked about Sweden, I talked about Denmark, I talked about the UK, I talked about when I moved to Canada, how cold it was, and all of those, how the cold winters also affected me. I talked about my journey in some of the fields I've worked in. I've been a leader in different sectors. Just, I mean, beside having my own business and consultancy right now, I have, also worked in Canada as a leader for a couple of years. So I talked about a lot of that, which also gave me the credibility, the experience, and some of that grounding that I have right now in the work that I do for Ndoping and Co.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about that, the work that you do in Ndoping. What kind of who do you work with, and what do you help them to do?
Yeah, so I work with three different group of professionals, and this is normally how my offering looks like. Number one is small to medium-sized entrepreneurs. So I work with small to medium-sized entrepreneurs that are looking to scale. I mean, sometimes I ask you the question, are you stuck in all of the administrative duties and all of those other things that keeps you on one spot, and you're thinking, I've been in this business for a while. What's happening? I'm not growing. And look at my numbers, and it seems like they're stagnating. I come in to be able to open up some of that and expand some of that and work with small to medium sized entrepreneurs on their teams and look for the best strategies to be able to expand and grow and scale where they could also relax and enable their business work for them. The second group of people that I work with are non-for-profit leaders. I mean, they are very dear to my heart because non-for-profit in itself has a purpose, a mission, a vision. That
Right.
purpose, mission, and vision is so dear to my heart. And so it's so easy to be in a non-for-profit and you're stagnated with sources of funding, you're struggling with, and honestly, I've worked with a non-for-profit before. I mean, as a leader in a non-for-profit. And so that also gave me that strength and visibility of how non-for-profits operate with the funding, with the management, with management and aligning with top leadership, with disconnects, and how you could create a bigger vision and some of
Right.
those other things. And so I get into non-for-profits and be able to break things apart. And so let's tear things apart. And then let's look at, okay, what's going wrong. It's almost like you meet a technician who says, okay, I'm going to open all of these motherboard and I'm going to look at the areas and see what's going wrong and how could we rebuild this where everybody's on board, especially with the purpose of the non-for-profit. So that's major for me. And then number three is just any leader who is a leader and who wants to grow on any aspect of their leadership. And that could be different areas that they want to grow. Just because I've been a leader myself, I've been trained as a coach and a consultant, I can definitely look at, okay, what is your main area of interest? Where do you feel is your area of opportunity? And sometimes we just have a discovery call for me to understand where the leadership is already going. And then I can definitely pinpoint to say, this is where I think could be an area of opportunity for you to grow and for you to achieve, the goals that you've set for yourself. So those are three different types of clients that I basically work with.
Yeah. When you talk about the not-for-profit world, uh, we find so often that people are extremely passionate about the cause and the mission of the not-for-profit, which is why they go in that realm. But a lot of them don't have the leadership and the management skills and even the business skills to keep the thing operating properly. When they hire people, they hire people who are also passionate about the topic, but may not be experts in development or whatever. And it's frustrating to watch how they struggle. And that's why people like you and myself and others who work in this realm can be so essential for them to help to keep them on track and to do the things they need to do to stay functional and stay solvent while still being able to perform that mission. And then when you talked about leaders, that was another key point. There are so many people that wind up in leadership positions just because they've progressed through the ranks, because
Yes.
they've been around so long. They're there because of seniorship, not because of leadership. And so I find it, and I'm sure you do as well, essential that these folks learn how to transition from being a worker, from being a manager, managing resources, and becoming a leader of other people. And it's a whole different skill set.
I agree with you 100%. And I've seen
Yeah.
that over and over and over again. I mean, there's just so much to leadership that, yeah, it's not just progressing and having the knowledge and experience people management is so key that it's so easy to get caught up with all of the other things in the bottom. You forget that you're leading people. You're not just leading furniture. You're actually leading people.
Yeah, exactly. I like that, leading furniture. I'm going to remember that one and I'm going to use it. We are speaking with Robert Dopping. Robert is a certified business coach, leadership strategist, and just a brilliant guy who's kind of traveled and experienced life around the world in different cultures, in different types of environments, including the public service sector and including the nonprofit sector, in the education sector. He's kind of all over the planet, helping people. And just you know, to say this, you're kind of a darling of a guy, man. You really are. You just there's something about you that makes people be immediately drawn to you and want to listen to what you have to say. Robert,
Thank
I
you.
look forward to diving in further into your chapter on resilience. But I want to talk a little bit more now about if you were able to make some change in the world. I mean, I know we all do. In sometimes it's just one client at a time. But what is the major impact? You said, looking back at your life when you're 80 years old, um, what do you want to feel when you get to that point? What do you want to look back and say, I'm glad I did this, or I wanted to be able to do that?
John, I'm glad you asked me this question. There are three words that I use on my business logo and that I use not just because I want to write it somewhere, but because it means a lot to me. So there is impact, there is scale, and there is purpose. Those three words, for me, they are pregnant because they mean a lot. Because that's where, like I said, when I have this icebreaker, which I normally present at a lot of when I do my workshops and keynotes, which is called um, "You are the CEO of your life." And part of that CEO of your life is what you take ownership of and what you give people ownership of your own life. It's so major to me because I just imagine 80 years when I'm 80 and I'm looking back and I'll ask myself, I was the CEO of my life. What did I use that for? How did I one create an impact? How did I enable people scale to the best version of themselves, not just a business? That could
Right.
also be just you to the best version of yourself, but that could also be a business. And then how did I enable people find their purpose? And purpose leads to happiness. Where you sit back and you're, yeah, I did it. And I'm grateful. I used all I had. I used all my skills. I used the best in which I am to be able to attain something that gives me joy. And if I'm exiting this world, I'm exiting it as a happy person. For me, those three things are major.
Well, you know what? We're going to need you to stick around a lot longer than just 80. So don't limit yourself there.
That will be a time of reflection. But 100, 110 will be good for me.
I want to live long enough to annoy my wife. No, I'm kidding. I'm
Yeah.
already doing that. I'm already doing that quite well. Oh, that you've made some. You really struck home with a lot of things about being the CEO of your life, and looking back at your at your life and career. I think we all want to think about uh, kind of our legacy, and the legacy is not our stuff or our finances or the things we've accumulated, but it's the impact we've made and how we lift people feeling. And so, what if you had something in that you wanted to be remembered for? What would that be, Robert?
I think if there's one thing I want to be remembered for was that I made people felt better just by me having an experience with them. However, that experience with it's like, let's say John, you and I met today and we chatted even for a minute, and we parted. Um, I want you to feel better than the time I met you. For me, that's always what I want to do. It's um,
Yeah.
people are the heart of everything I do, and that's why I made mention of when you're leading people. You're not leading furniture. And so in the end, for me, just that impact. And I think in my own little way, I've made that in some of the areas I've worked and also some of the areas that I've gotten an opportunity to have contracts with. Is that people can feel better. Because yes, we can talk about the metrics, the goals, the attainment, the achievements. Yeah, that's good. But honestly, the most essential thing are the people. It's just to make them feel better, feel, oh, I learned this thing. Oh, I couldn't have thought about it. Oh, wow. Just that smile, that interaction, it just made my day. That's it for me.
And sometimes it's as simple as that, just that simple smile, just that
Yes.
simple smile
Yes.
that could make a huge difference for somebody.
Yes. I
Yeah.
agree with you.
I know I feel so much better when somebody smiles at me.
Yeah.
And so I try to do that with others as well. And it has a significant impact on people's lives. And sometimes we impact people's lives without even realizing we're doing it. And
I
so
agree with you.
yeah, so we need to be able to be aware of what we're putting out there and how we're showing up in the world.
Yeah.
And I think you're
I,
doing a fascinating job of doing that and reaching out to people and helping people. And I can't believe that we were almost out of time already. Is this insane or what? How quickly this goes? Everybody says, "Oh, we're going to do this for half an hour or whatever." Like, yeah, but that's okay. You know, it will we'll find things to talk about. Well, yes, we will. And look, the time is almost up already. So, I had like so many things that I would love to talk with you more about, and maybe down the road we'll get you back on another episode as well. But in the interim, let's talk about how people. Well, you know what? You have a YouTube channel,
yes.
and so why don't we just talk very briefly the next couple of minutes on what's out there on that YouTube channel and why people should subscribe to it?
Yeah, I mean, my YouTube channel has always been for me. I created not just as a link, like another business link. I created it because I wanted to provide some value, and a lot of what I put out there on my YouTube channel is mostly just life's values and lessons. A couple of things that people might not, you know, think about in life, especially as a person, especially looking at different aspects, because I focus on the person in my channel. I mean, if you go through my channel, a lot of those things are not just on, oh, this is strategy, this is this. I mostly focus on the person. Those things that we could do that could make us better. And also those things that lead us, tips and techniques that they could be able to take that could help them, be better at whatever thing they've chosen to do.
And your channel is Ndoping Coaching, and they can find you
Yes.
on LinkedIn, and it'll be in the show notes as well, people, so you can find his YouTube channel as well as connecting with him on LinkedIn. That's a great way to get in touch with him. He seems to be very responsive there. So definitely check out Robert Ndoping. And by the way, for those of you who are not reading the screen or not looking at the notes, or if you're just listening to the audio version of this, Ndoping is spelled Ndoping. So check out ndopingco.com, dopingco.com, and that is Robert's website. And look him up on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And most importantly, get a copy, if you don't already have it, of Cracking the Rich Code, Volume 17. Read his story, read his chapter in that book, Resilience, excuse me, Resilience, A Journey to Find Purpose by Robert Ndoping. Robert, thank you so much for spending the time today. I can't believe we're out of time already, but definitely people you want to, if you have not watched this whole thing, go back and watch this from the beginning and learn about this fascinating dude. Robert, I thank you again. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And folks, tune into the next chapter and listen to Cracking the Rich Code. Pick up the books, watch the podcasts, and most importantly, get to know these other authors. They're all fantastic. Thank you again. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you for having me.
So great to have you, sir. I'm looking forward to interacting with you a lot more.